Welcome to Priviso Live. I'm Lynn.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Kayla.
Okay, picture this. Sunday, the 14th of June, 2026, the South Lawn of the White House. The President of the United States is in attendance, thousands of fans, a UFC event, Ultimate Fighting Championship, mixed martial arts, people hitting each other very hard.
Not what you expect to see at the White House, but we live in different times.
Different times, for sure. And in the background, completely unknown to that crowd, 5 people across 4 American states are finalizing a plan to fly explosive-laden drones into the event. And when everyone runs away, to gun them down.
That is what investigators described. The plan was chilling in its specificity, and the FBI stopped it 4 days before it could happen.
Yo.
And today we are talking about why that matters for everyone listening. Because this is not just a law enforcement story. It is a technology story. It is a security story. And it is a story playing out right now in real time at the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Let's get into it.
Let's go into the detail. The 14th of June, UFC Freedom 250, South Lawn of the White House.
The FBI became aware of the threat on the 10th of June, 4 days before the event. In those 4 days, they ran a multi-state operation that ended in the arrest of 5 individuals.
The names: Tyson Proper from Ohio, Daniel Eskridge from Missouri, Abraham Hermosillo Alvarez from Nebraska, and from California, Brian Omar Roa and Michael Allen Thomas.
4 states, 5 people. One very specific, very horrifying plan.
As laid out by investigators, fly explosive-laden drones over the crowd, trigger a mass evacuation, and open fire on the people running for their lives.
Aish.
Now, what's particularly important from a security perspective, and this is the part that moves this from a crime story to a technology story, is how they coordinated.
Signal.
The messaging app.
The encrypted messaging app. An initial review of one suspect's iPhone identified at least 23 Signal users discussing what investigators called pre-operational activity.
For anyone who may not know, Signal uses end-to-end encryption. Your messages are scrambled before they leave your device and only unscrambled on the receiver's device. Nobody in the middle. Not Signal itself, not your service provider, not law enforcement, can read the content.
Traditional signals intelligence, wiretapping, network interception, cannot penetrate it. The only way the FBI could access the content was physical access to the device. What cracked this case was good old-fashioned human intelligence.
And that is the big insight. The attack was physical, drones, firearms, but it was coordinated digitally through encryption, 3 technologies. All consumer grade, all legal to own, combined into a weapons system.
This is what we mean when we talk about the convergence of the physical and digital threat landscape. And it is precisely why I get slightly impatient when organizations treat their physical security function and their information security function as separate departments.
Very slightly impatient, Stephen?
Very slightly, yeah.
Right, so that's the UFC event. Now let's talk about the Football World Cup because the numbers are genuinely alarming.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup spans 16 cities across 3 countries, the US, Canada, and Mexico, 64 matches, billions of rand in broadcast rights, a potential global TV audience for the final of over 1 billion people.
On the 18th of June, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed that more than 50 drones had been seized near World Cup venues since play began on the 11th of June.
Between the 11th and 16th of June, just 6 days, authorities logged 145 drone incursions into restricted airspace across 8 U.S. venues.
1, 4, 5 in 6 days.
Counter-drone teams mitigated 55 of those and physically seized 39 during that period.
Atlanta had the most, 36 incursions, 20 mitigations, 11 seizures. In Kansas City, a joint federal city team intercepted 8 drones in a single day. Venues affected include Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Seattle, Boston, San Francisco, and Philadelphia.
Atlanta is the world's busiest airport, and now apparently also the world's busiest drone interception zone.
Are all of these malicious? Possibly not all. But 145 incursions is not a pattern of innocent mistake. That is a pattern.
Whether it is reconnaissance, testing the perimeter, or something more deliberate, the volume is not random, and that conversation is happening behind closed doors right now.
So who are we actually worried about here? Who are the bad guys in this scenario?
Great question. 2 main categories. The first, As we saw with the UFC plot, domestic extremists and terrorist organizations. People motivated by ideology who want mass casualties and maximum media impact.
The second is more concerning from a capability standpoint, nation-state actors.
And the geopolitical context right now is, well, volatile is a polite word.
The conflict in Ukraine has completely rewritten the drone warfare playbook. Both sides have deployed swarms, conducted precision strikes, and developed counter-drone systems at a pace that would have been science fiction 5 years ago.
Iran has supplied drone technology to Russia and to Hezbollah. North Korea has its own program. China is the world's largest drone manufacturer by volume. And the World Cup is hosted by the United States, a country with active adversarial relationships with all of those actors.
The target profile for a state actor seeking maximum global impact is almost irresistible. Maximum visibility, concentrated crowds, symbolic value, and the ability to demonstrate capability without direct attribution.
And it is not only the people in the stands. The event's ICT infrastructure, ticketing, broadcasting, payments, communications, is its own attack surface. A simultaneous physical drone attack and a cyber attack on the event's ICT systems. That is a qualitatively different threat to anything we have seen at a sporting event before.
Right. Can we talk about what's being done? I don't want our listeners stress eating at their desks.
The Department of Homeland Security established a dedicated program executive office for unmanned aircraft systems and counter-UAS before the tournament, backed by $115 million.
That's over 2 billion rand for our South African listeners.
Thank you, Kayla. Always helpful with the exchange rate.
Lekka, I do maths.
Multiple vendors deployed. Fortem Technologies, which was at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, is the sole kinetic counter-drone solution. Their drone hunter system is a large hexcopter that intercepts hostile drones and captures them in a net. The net is important. If you shoot down a drone over 50,000 people, the debris is still falling.
Solved one problem, created another.
Detection and tracking comes from Fortem's TrueView R30 radar units, feeding into a command and control platform called Skydome, which manages threat data autonomously, reducing the time from detection to response.
Then there's Centrix. They use radio frequency analysis, passively listening to the signals commercial drones emit, and they can then take control of unauthorized drones without any physical interception. No net, no chase.
The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, has issued temporary flight restrictions across all World Cup venues, no-fly zones with federal criminal penalties, and CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, has been coordinating cybersecurity preparedness with federal, state, and local partners.
So the physical layer is covered by DHS, Fortem, and Centrix, the airspace regulation by the FAA, and the cyber layer by CISA. It is a mature multi-agency response.
For our practitioner audience, let's map this to the frameworks. ISO 27001 2022, Annex A first.
Control A, 5.7, Threat Intelligence. The FBI detecting the UFC plot 4 days before the event is a 5.7 working exactly as intended. Collect, analyze, and act on threat information.
A, 5.24, Incident Management Planning. Pre-planned, rehearsed, multi-agency response. The multi-state FBI operation demonstrates that.
A, 7.4, Physical Security Monitoring, the radar and RF surveillance systems. A, 7.2, Physical Entry Controls, the venue perimeters. A, 8.16, Monitoring Activities, what Skydome does continuously and autonomously. A, 5.30, ICT Readiness for Business Continuity, CISA's Cybersecurity Coordination.
On the NIST 800, 53 side, PE3 and PE6 for physical access and monitoring, IR4 and IR6 for incident handling and reporting, RA3 for risk assessment, CP2 for contingency planning, and CA7 for continuous monitoring.
The controls exist, they're mapped, they're funded, but frameworks are only as good as their implementation and their ability to adapt to threats they were not originally designed to address. Are the controls adequate?
The architecture is layered: passive RF detection, active radar, kinetic interception as last resort, autonomous command and control. That is defense in depth, the principle both ISO 27001 and NIST 800, 53 endorse. One layer fails, the next catches it. The investment is real. The preemptive arrest of the UFC plotters proves threat intelligence integration works. Multi-agency coordination across 16 cities and 3 countries is operationally impressive.
Okay, Lecker points. But here is where I push back. 145 incursions in 6 days. That is already putting pressure on the response system before anyone has tried to deliberately saturate it. Nation-state actors do not send one drone. They send swarms. The maths of a swarm attack are specifically designed to overwhelm point defense systems. No drone hunter can intercept 40 drones simultaneously above a packed stadium. The mathematics do not work.
That is a fair challenge.
And the RF detection system? Centrix works because commercial drones communicate on standard frequencies. But a sophisticated actor doesn't use a consumer drone off the shelf. They use autonomous, pre-programmed guidance with no radio transmission after launch. The scanner hears nothing.
And the kinetic system creates its own risk.
Exactly. Drone Hunter is a large hexcopter over tens of thousands of people. A mechanical failure mid-pursuit above that crowd. It doesn't miss the target. It becomes one.
The cure becomes the cause.
And this is the one that keeps me up at night. Skydome is software. It has network interfaces. It has attack surfaces. A sophisticated adversary might not attack the drones at all. They might attack the system designed to stop the drones, disable the radar, spoof the tracking data, corrupt the command platform.
Which means the counter-drone infrastructure itself needs to be defended as critical national infrastructure.
And this is where ISO 27001 and NIST 800-53 show their limits, not because they are poor frameworks, but because they were not designed to govern the response to kinetic physical threats from autonomous aerial vehicles. The gap sits right at the intersection of physical security, information security, and counterterrorism doctrine. And none of those three fully owns that intersection.
Which is exactly where the adversary lives.
I'll concede that point.
Stephen concedes, mark it in the calendar.
Once, Lynn, once.
We don't host the World Cup this year, but we do host major events. The Cape Town Jazz Festival, the Cape Epic, the Comrades Marathon, the State of the Nation Address, national key points, critical infrastructure. None of this is abstract.
South Africa has a drone regulatory framework. The SACLA, South African Civil Aviation Authority, regulates drones under Part 101 of the Civil Aviation Regulations. Drones over 250 grams must be registered with SACLA. Commercial operators need a UASOC, Unmanned Aircraft Systems Operating Certificate. There's a 120-meter altitude limit, and you cannot fly within 10 kilometers of an airport without SACLA approval.
Good regulations. The question, as always, is enforcement.
And that is the honest conversation. Regulation and enforcement are not the same thing. The capacity to enforce drone regulations at scale, counter-drone technology investment at national event level, integrated physical cybersecurity at a national coordination level. We are not at the same place as the US right now.
Which is not a criticism, it's a context. Different threat actors, different resources, different risk profiles. But the lesson is the same.
If you are running an organization, a corporate, a government department, a critical infrastructure operator, the convergence of physical and cyber threats is not a future problem. It is a current problem. And your ISO 27001 implementation and your NIST alignment are necessary, but not sufficient. You need to ask, does your security posture match your actual current threat landscape?
Not the threat landscape from when you last did your gap assessment 3 years ago.
Shots fired, Kayla.
I'm just saying.
Final thoughts before we wrap?
The controls at the World Cup are serious, well-funded, and proven for conventional threats. The UFC plot is the evidence. But the emerging threat, autonomous, swarming, cyber-integrated, potentially state-sponsored, is a different creature. The gap is real. It needs to be named and addressed.
Encrypted communications. Signal is legal. It protects journalists, lawyers, activists, ordinary people. We should not and cannot want to break encryption, but it means threat intelligence needs to evolve. More human-based, more analytical, less reliant on signals interception.
And mine is the integration question. Physical security and information security must be one function, not separate reporting lines, not separate risk registers. The threat actor does not acknowledge your organizational chart. Neither should your risk model.
And there you have it. This has been Priviso Live. We hope you found today's episode interesting. If you did, please share it with your colleagues, your friends, your family. Word of mouth is a strong driver of podcast growth.
If you want to hear more of the same, Subscribe to Priviso live on Apple, Samsung, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or YouTube.
And if you need security, risk, or ICT legislation advice, contact Priviso Consulting directly at admin@priviso.co.za.
And if you have topics you'd like us to cover, or questions about anything we discussed today, reach out to us. We love hearing from our listeners.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Kayla. Thanks for listening.
Stay secure.
Let's be careful out there.
Stay safe.